Hello everybody and welcome to the J72 Gaming and Reviews channel. My name is Jacob, but you guys can just call me Jay here. Minecraft, a game I really don't think I have to introduce to you, as millions of players have already logged into this blocky, Lego-like game and created their own journey through its world. And while it started as a very simple block-based game, over the years it's changed and evolved way past what most of us would have expected out of it. Now, I'm pretty excited to be breaking down Minecraft today. It's going to be a fun video, I think, and I do know that a lot of you already have very positive thoughts on this game, but today I wanted to sit down and review it with the Rule of 72 format, because on this channel, we don't rate things 1 to 10. No, we don't rate things 1 to 100 either. We rate things out of 72. The Rule of 72 is a grading system set for video games that does just that. It splits the 72 points into 7 categories that we can rate, each category being worth 10 points, with the final 2 points potentially being awarded at the end. This is the third review of the format, and after covering the 2 games that I have primarily covered on this channel, I thought what better game than Minecraft, a juggernaut in the industry, and a game that I know many of you watching would consider your favorite game. Minecraft at this point in time is an absolute titan in the gaming world. So I figured let's get it on the wall of 72 to see where it lies and to have it as a staple on the board as we continue to fill it up with more and more game reviews. So let's break down the 7 categories and bonus points real quick to explain how the Rule of 72 works. The first 10 points are broken down based off the game's gameplay. Now this category is usually the longest section because it breaks down the ins and outs of your gameplay experience during your time with the game. A game with dull moments, uninteresting systems, and overly tedious tasks will rate very poorly here. A 10 out of 10 gameplay example would be Grand Theft Auto 5. The second category is all about the game's story, its setting, and its lore. Its overall vibe, if you will. Now, games don't need all 3 of these to get a 10, but rich, immersive worlds with environments and detailed stories to tell within will help boost this grade up to a 10. A 10 out of 10 example is Portal 2. The third group of 10 points is the performance and control grade. Games that run very well on their chosen hardware will do great here, but this category is also about how well the game controls in the player's hands. Finicky and clunky controls could bring a game's score down even if it runs flawlessly. A 10 out of 10 example is Fortnite. The fourth category is all about things your eyeballs can see. It's the game's graphics, visuals, and style. Sure, if a game has excellent and crisp, photorealistic graphics, it's likely a 10. But games with a very stylized and detailed world with their own personality, those can also be a 10. A 10 out of 10 example is actually from the previous Rule of 72 review. It's The Isle. Next up, the fifth category is all about the game's audio. Bad audio is extremely jarring and can ruin a game, but immersive and detailed sounds in the world or exquisite voice acting can really help make a game go from good to great. A 10 out of 10 example is, spoiler alert, once again, it's The Isle. Alright, the sixth category of points is all about this game's multiplayer aspects and the community the gamers playing it have cultivated. The game's culture and temperament is taken into account in this grade, but also how well the game facilitates multiplayer. An absolute incredible 10 out of 10 example I think you all need to play is It Takes Two. And the last 10 points are awarded based off a game's replayability and value. Now these 10 points often rank the game overall more or less, with a main focus on how much your time in-game is respected. If it's fun to hop on and do something always, it's going to get a high score. 10 out of 10 example is Civilization 6. Now once we have all of these scores for all of these 7 categories, there will still be 2 more bonus points that can be awarded. The 71st and 72nd point. Point 71 is for games that are worth completing. Now this can mean different things based off different games, but if a game is worth its value when trying to do everything it has to offer, it will be worth completing and thus worthy of point 71. And point 72 is the final point, and one that I award to games that are my absolute personal favorites. It's the golden 72nd star to give out to games that I absolutely adore, and that I find myself holding in a very high regard. Alright everybody, with all those categories and points laid out, we will have 72 points to award to Minecraft, and be able to put it up on the Great Wall of 72, which currently only has 2 games. But now, everybody, let's get to the video you clicked on, and let's dive into Minecraft, the ins and outs of this amazing game, and really rank it and see what it's worth. So with that said, everybody, make sure you sit back, make sure you kick back, and make sure you grab a snack as we get in today's video. My chosen snack for today, some holiday hot apple cider. Enjoy the show. Let's get into it, guys. Minecraft's gameplay. Man, where do I even start with this one? Minecraft's gameplay, at its most basic, would be all about gathering resources out in the blocky, interactive world, all to build up your armor and weapons and potentially a base. The end goal being to open the portal to the end of the game and defeat the final boss, the Ender Dragon. Simple premise and follows the format of many survival crafters out there, more or less. But what really sets this game apart is the ability to move pretty much everything you see in the world. The blocky world in this game aids it so well to being an extremely unique survival experience. Now, I hear time and time again from people who don't play Minecraft that the issue that they have is just how blocky it is and that it's unappealing to the eye. And I've always responded to these people and told them that as long as you give this game a shot and look past what you may think is its limiting factor, i.e. the blocks, that you're actually going to find an extremely good adventure game, full of danger, loot, and experiences that will rival the best of games, all while being able to have near 100% free reign to change the world around you. And I think Minecraft does all of this very well. Now, you have different biomes to explore, all with their different resources to gather, and usually unique enemies to fight and be aware of. And the resource gathering progression from stone to iron, onwards up to diamond, and even netherite, is honestly a very solid progression system that adds to this game's gameplay tremendously. And all of this praise only being the backbone of the game, just the adventure. There's also the endless creative potential by moving these blocks around and placing them to create whatever you need. And at its most simplest, this would be a base. But at its grandest, whew, well, look no further than any other Minecraft video here on YouTube. The potential of what people have done in this game is jaw-dropping. From massive solo projects to community projects like Rebuilding the World or community servers like Hermitcraft, man, this game has limitless gameplay potential. Honestly, it's nuts. So, how good is the day-to-day gameplay of this game with everything I've already said taken into consideration? Because grading an overall gameplay score on Minecraft is no easy task with the scope of this game being so grand. But the day-to-day playing of this game usually has me logging into the world with at least some sort of goal. Sure, ultimately I'm aiming to defeat the dragon, and the speed at which you get to the point of actually attacking it can vary dramatically from player to player. I mean, the speedrunning community of this game is on a next level, but for the average gamer, it's going to take more than a few days to get to that dragon. Now, along the way, your goals will be minor things like needing to gather more iron or perhaps risk going deeper for diamonds. And getting those enchants I mentioned requires setting up full enchanting tables with bookshelves, which in of itself requires new challenges to be overcome. Tiny and progressive goals in Minecraft really do carry it day to day and has me excited to log on and play. And once you've played Minecraft enough, your simple goals kind of expand, but your day-to-day looks the same. Where yesterday my goal was to log on to get a full set of iron, today may have me logging on to build an automatic chicken farm with redstone, and tomorrow may have me tackling an endgame base with a fully automatic sorting system of every sortable item in the game. This gameplay scope is tremendous based on the player, and the ultimate goal of that particular session for Minecraft of the day is based on your experience with the game. It's very well done, honestly, and does wonders for this game's overall value. I could also spend a good while explaining some of the more complex things about Minecraft that really elevate its gameplay. Things like how redstone works, or the complexity of the nether and end. Making machines in this game to help automate your resource gathering is personally one of my favorite aspects of this game, but I'll just assume you either already know about redstone, or we can just at least understand that this game has magic red dust that works kind of like electricity, so people can literally make mechanical machines in this game akin to a motherboard on a computer. It's it's really dope, honestly, and it makes this game's endgame, well, seemingly endless in what you can do. So again, we reach this seemingly endless scope that is Minecraft's gameplay. Its creative potential as well as its mechanical potential can't be understated here in this review, but I do want to highlight a small critique for this game regarding its gameplay, and that is how it severely lacks guidance in what you should do. And now listen, it could be claimed that there's a charm in just being dropped into a world with no real knowledge of what to do. But if I'm honest with this game, there's absolutely no way in the world I would have known that I needed to gather Ender Eyes to open a hidden portal in a hidden stronghold to go to the end to defeat an Ender Dragon. And that's the main goal of this game, or at least what is considered a credit-rolling achievement. Personally, I'm used to just having a second monitor open and using the wiki for every type of question I have in this game, and trust me, there's a lot of those. But the game itself actually kind of fails at explaining some of the more intricate systems that are packed into this game. They do kinda, in a way, hint at it by doing things like having the broken nether portals around the world to suggest, hey, maybe light this and see where it goes. Or even having hidden redstone down in the ancient cities to show how some of those systems work. But overall, this game is really a game that you need to either have someone who knows what to do show you what to do, or you're just going to need to watch one of the millions of Minecraft YouTube videos that are out there. Now, it's not necessarily the biggest complaint in the world about Minecraft's gameplay, but I do think that this lack of guidance does actually kind of hinder the game a bit. If they were to have a bit more tutorials as you unlock new aspects of the game, or did a bit better job of displaying in the world like they're currently trying to, then I'd excuse it more. But I would have to argue that at least 10% of my time playing this game is actually researching on what to do. And that's at all experience levels of play too. You see, new players, they're going to be searching up what an Eye of Ender does. And experts may be looking up how comparators work so that they can make a successful farming machine for an endgame resource. The gameplay is the same, and that is that Minecraft itself struggles to explain its vast scope of gameplay to its players. So for a gameplay score of Minecraft, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Its near perfect, near infinite potential for play is impressive. And I really did sit here thinking for a while on, was it another example of a 10 out of 10 gameplay game? But honestly, guys, if you really sit back and think about how much was taught to you about this game in a video or through a mentor of sorts, I think you'd have to agree that we all would have been very lost in Minecraft without a little bit of guidance. And that without being taught, we would never even know the large majority of the gameplay that is hidden away in this game. So only because Minecraft struggles itself to explain its vast scope of gameplay, does its impressive gameplay get a 9 out of 10. Alright, let's talk about Minecraft's story, its setting, and its lore grade. Now, Minecraft's story is fairly cryptic, to be honest, and has the same struggles it does with explaining, its gameplay. At first, when I was thinking of a score for this section, I was like, Minecraft doesn't really have a story or lore, so I think I'll just grade its setting, which is a similar thing I had to do with the Isles rule of 72 review. But upon thinking about it deeper, Minecraft does indeed have a story and a bit of lore baked into the game. There are more subtle hidden things like the existence of those broken nether portals and the ancient cities like I mentioned, suggesting some sort of society that no longer exists. But there are also obvious lore-filled moments like when the credits roll and run an extremely long and honestly very odd line of text, or paragraphs of text really. And this paragraph of text is one of the oddest endings of gaming, to be honest. It's it's very long. Now, to be honest, I really have not dug into the intricacies of this ending sequence, and I know many people have fun theories about this game's lore due to what is being said in this ending sequence, or by combining aspects of the game into an overarching story. And look, that's fun and all, and I do like to believe some of these reviews, like how people in the world may have opened the portals to the nether, damning their world and forcing them to retreat to the end, slowly turning themselves into the Endermen due to the void. But none of this is actually really laid out for the player within the game itself. Now, a cryptic lore and hidden story is not always a bad thing if it is done in an efficient way, but to be honest, I think Minecraft kind of fails here. They are starting to build upon this odd lore of theirs through other games in the Minecraft franchise, but within their main game, it is still something that I'm just not so sure about, and I have way more questions than I do answers. So let's shelf that confusing story and lore grade for a second and lean more on this game's setting, which I am glad to say is easily a strength for it in this category. Minecraft's blocky, procedurally generated, multi-biomed world is honestly really cool. I'm a fan. Now, in the past, this game was super simple, with just some plains and forest biomes, but over its lifetime, this game has added more and more biomes to explore, which has really added to its exploration and adventure gameplay. Every time I sit down to start a new Minecraft world, I usually make an effort to set up my base in a different biome than I have before, because living in a spruce forest honestly feels extremely different to the overall gameplay experience than, say, living in the Badlands would. Or maybe the ice spike biome, or maybe the new cherrywood forest. See, I take it upon myself to always set up shop in these different biomes because they are all very different immersive experiences. Now, regardless of if you like the blocky aspect, and we'll get to that in the graphics and style section, the world of Minecraft does immerse you. And on a technical gameplay angle, the procedural generations means that you can learn what each biome has to offer, find it, and exploit it for whatever gameplay situations you need, resources or otherwise, which overall helps you to want to wander the vast and expansive world that they have laid out for you. The only thing I think the game could do a bit better would be more creative points of interest. And they have a few, and they are adding more as time goes on for sure. But with only things like villages, strongholds, super rare mansions, and those darn broken nether portals that are everywhere, there's actually not too many things out in the game that are interesting to find. At least not nearly as interesting as anything players themselves can make. From the angle that this game is meant to be a creative sandbox world and the cool structures are meant to be built, not found, well, I can respect that angle. But I would argue, why do things like the mansion exist if this game does indeed want difficult places to find, and they want these places to be cool and full of loot? Then I think more things like the mansion should exist to really help build out a more fun overall setting. So for a grade for Minecraft's story, setting, and lore, I think I'm gonna have to give it a 7 out of 10. Its inefficient cryptic storytelling and questionable lore holds it back in this ranking, but I do think it has a very powerful world, and at this point with all the updates, there are a ton of unique biomes to explore and get immersed in. And these biomes look fantastic and are full of flavor. I just wish that they had a few more point of interest to really make them shine. Time for Minecraft's performance and control grade. And honestly, this game runs fairly well, and on most computers too, actually. I mean, heck, Minecraft can be played on a phone and the Switch, so it's definitely able to adjust its setting to easily run on whichever hardware the player is trying to use. And while I'm not much of a mobile gamer, I have played Minecraft on both console and PC, and it's always been a fairly seamless experience. And the only time I've struggled to run the game was when I was cranking up the shaders or using a ton of mods, which understandably stresses the hardware or the server. And speaking of servers, honestly, they're the main choke point for this game when it comes to its performance. The only real annoyances are rubber banding or having aspects of the world load in late when exploring on a server that doesn't quite have enough RAM allocated to keep up. This game, it honestly gets pretty technical under the hood, and while it does have a simple appearance, when you really start amassing mobs for a farm or have a ton of redstone wiring doing odd things here and there, well, the server can start to get stressed. So its performance isn't perfect 100% of the time, but it's usually the server size and strength that is more of a concern when it does start to show signs of low performance. And as far as how well Minecraft physically controls, well, I do have to say that it's fairly smooth and accurate to what the player inputs. It's simple, sure, as you're just moving a character around in the world, but it does have a crisp, snappy feel to it when breaking blocks and placing them that does kind of eventually feel second nature. You see, I wouldn't describe Minecraft's movement as clunky at all. And the UI elements are also fairly simple and straightforward to use. Keyboard shortcuts like shift-clicking items in and out of chests help make the inventory management easy to use. And while there are probably way more items than the classic inventory is set up to manage, things like shulker boxes have helped to expand on the inventory system. It is a bit quirky, like how sprint jumping is faster than just a normal sprint, and how we can hang off the edges of blocks when crouching, but it's a controlled system that is easy to use, simple to handle, and works as needed. it's fairly good in its simplification, honestly. So I'm going to be giving Minecraft's performance and control grade a solid 9 out of 10. See, it really does everything it needs to. It has a few elements that make you know you're playing Minecraft, and it only really struggles to run the game when the server that it's based on has lackluster capabilities. If the game didn't require so much from servers when playing multiplayer, and having a strong server was easier to come across for the majority of players without having to cash out a ton of money, then I would have given it the full 10 out of 10. But just like its gameplay, it's near perfect with what we would want out of a game. I could just use a few little touch-ups overall. This category for Minecraft is going to be fun, because this is a great example of a game that is going to lean on its style rather than its high-end, photorealistic graphic prowess. Minecraft's blocky nature is either something that you're really going to be hung up about, or something that you embrace. And while I do understand it being the punchline of a joke at times for its simple blockiness, I do think that's a bit of a naive way to describe this game's graphics. See, when you dive deeper into this game, you start to realize that in order to make this game ooze with style, well, you're going to have to put some work into it yourself. And normally for a game, I would say that holds it back. But Minecraft has something different going here, I think. And the plain and fairly realistic biomes that they present offer you the opportunity to take different aspects of each place and bring them back to your base to really make something incredible. I'm going to be showing you guys some clips of some of my favorite Minecraft YouTubers here, mostly Hermitcraft members, because these clips show just how incredible this game's style can get. And for a game that has craft, as literally half the title, well, building up your world in your own image is literally half the point of the game. Now, I've always described survival crafting games as having 3 aspects of the game that you can usually place a person into. 1, being explorers. These players tend to focus on mining and gathering resources and get excited about adventures to new lands and probably also enjoy the combat. Number 2 are the game's engineers. These are the type of players who love to focus on automation or pushing a game's crafting system to the max efficiency. For Minecraft, these are the redstoners. But the third category of players, that would be the builders. Players who just love to make the game look better. Now, personally, I find myself to enjoy this aspect of the game the most. I'd say I'm like 15% an adventurer, we'll say about 13% redstone engineer, and, 72% builder when I play this game. It's just really enjoyable to spend time in this world, building up an area that you enjoy. You'll often see in this review footage from my most recent world, where I and a few buddies set up shop in the new cherrywood biome. And I've since planted more and more cherrywoods surrounding the village that we live next to expand the biome, to expand the immersion, and to expand my world's style. And the more and more I play in this world, the better this game's graphics get, in a way. It started bland, but now that I've played it for a few months, it's become my world that has my touch, my style, plastered all over the world. I also want to mention that while Minecraft could use a bit more pizzazz when it comes to lighting, shadows, and effects, you can easily add shaders with only a little bit of extra work to get them. And that's when this game can really become incredible. All the footage of my Cherrywood Hill world here has some enhanced shaders on, and at this point I don't play Minecraft without them, so I'm usually always in a pretty beautiful looking world. But yeah, basic Minecraft's shadows and lightings, I think at this point in time, could use a bit more glamour or touch up. So what do we rank this game's graphics and style then? I think I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. That works well for me. Its base game does lack a tad of glossiness and shininess that can come with shaders. However, like I said, those shaders are easily accessible. And while I do think that they help boost the score up, I do think not having them as a default in this day and age could be changed. And as far as style goes, well, it's super fun to bring everything in this game back to your home base to set up your own vibe. But I do think that the generated world could use a bit more interesting things to keep up with what the players make, like I mentioned in the setting. The different types of villages are a great start to what I'm talking about. But I just think that everything is so, well, simple in the world that its style overall does kind of take a hit for me when thinking of a score. I think Minecraft needs an update that can kind of modernize some of these builds that naturally generate. It would do so much for this game's atmosphere and score. So 8 out of 10 for Minecraft's gameplay and style. And even though some players might be able to prove a 10 out of 10 with their style, Minecraft's graphics and style overall falter just ever so slightly. Alright, audio time. And I'll start off by saying that this game's music is so timeless already, and the Minecraft intro music has become such a classic for me personally. Now the songs that you've been listening to this whole video are actually the music discs that you can find around in the game, adding literal soundtracks into the experience, which is pretty fun to jam to while either building or hanging around your base with some buddies. These soundtracks add so much to the style and vibe for this game. For me, it really brings home the idea that you're playing in a blocky world, with all the songs being fairly simple, or something that you would hear from a very old arcade machine in the 8-bit era. Minecraft's music really tells you that you're playing a video game, and it doesn't seem to try to pretend that you're not. The music that can play randomly during the adventure also seems to fit this vibe, but it's more like background ambient music compared to the discs that you can find. Now, let's be real. Everybody knows the Minecraft menu music, and these ambient type songs that play have been remixed so many times into lo-fi beats that it honestly feels like it'd be an own genre of its own at this point. But that just covers the music of Minecraft, and the audio ranking here takes into account much more than just the tunes. The Minecraft sound bits for all the things in the game, things like eating, opening chests, taking fall damage, well, these sounds work together to continue to bring that blocky, I'm just playing an arcade-ish video game vibe, which I think is great. Not every game in the world needs giant orchestral soundtracks or even voice acting on that note. Nah, Minecraft here, much like its style score, knows to keep its sound effects simple and recognizable. That being said though, its simplicity in its audio can make the experience a bit repetitive at times. Sure, when you're on your new playthrough, and you crank up the volume to hear the zombies that are around the next corner in the cave, or you hear the ambient music kick in during the afternoon while building your base, then it does really add to the experience and has that wholesome arcade-ish video game vibe that I've been discussing. But once you've been playing in your world for the 30th, 50th, maybe 100th hour, well, I'd gamble to say that a lot of you have actually turned down or off completely your mob sound effects because, well, slaughtering hundreds of Endermen in an EXP farm or listening to your villagers all day. Well, some of us would just simply rather not hear it anymore. So let's figure out a grade for Minecraft's audio with all these points in mind. I think I'm going to give Minecraft's audio another 8 out of 10. Its ambient music and sound effects really do hit the mark in this game, and I think it's kind of like the blocky style problem, as in you're either going to hate it or you're going to be down for it. Now I should mention that the creepy, almost horror-driven sounds that can randomly play during your adventure out in this world are really well done. They're basically random on when they can occur, and I think maybe based on your biomes or something you just went near, but I do like them. They help make the journey through this game much more dramatic, but even those sounds can end up like the sound effects here, eventually getting old and repetitive and perhaps even unwelcome after some time. So 8 out of 10 feels like a good solid ranking for this category. Minecraft's audio is timeless, it really is, and I think people will be playing the eating sound effect pretty much for the rest of time. But it's just not worthy of a 9 or 10 in my opinion, as these sounds help set the mood for the game, but don't quite make me in awe or more immersed because of them. Now I think Minecraft is doing what it needs to do with its audio to fit its style, just that its audio isn't quite doing what I need it to do to be a 10 out of 10. Next up, let's talk about all things multiplayer and community for this game. And well, for starters, it's one of the most played games of all time. It's up there with Pokemon, Tetris, Grand Theft Auto, and CSGO. So to say this game is loved by its community would be quite the understatement. And honestly, with a game that so seamlessly translates into multiplayer, one that I would argue is actually much better played with friends or other people, well, it's easy to see why so many people have picked up this game and began breaking and placing their own blocks. Minecraft's community can honestly not easily be summed up in the amount of time that I have here in this section, because the players of this game have done some absolutely incredible things. Now just to name a few, there are all the players working together to recreate the world to scale in Minecraft. Or what about the server 2B2T, where there are no rules, thus leading to anarchy behavior and extremely interesting social situations due to this? And there are massive servers full of content creators, like the Hermitcraft server we've seen throughout this video. Or even simple, smaller servers, full of friends, just making their own world. The capabilities of what people try to achieve in this game, they're honestly out of this world. And that's awesome. To think that we have access to a video game that is so seemingly limitless in the ways to play with other people, it's just awesome. I think a lot of what I still want to say about Minecraft's multiplayer and community score can be said in its next category. So let's just go ahead and say it. I'm thinking it, you're thinking it, we're all thinking it. Minecraft's multiplayer and community is an easy 10 out of 10 score. Heck, this game deserves an 11, but I'm not going to break the system like that. Okay, normally I don't want to combine the last two sections in this review, but honestly Minecraft's replayability and value score is so intrinsically connected to its multiplayer and the communities around it that I just wanted to talk about all these things together. This game feels endless in its possibilities, not just for how many times you can run the adventure to kill the Ender Dragon, and not just because you can do it an endless amount of times in multiplayer servers with different people, but also because you can make it so that each time you log into this game, your goal can be completed different each time. As I mentioned in this game's gameplay score, you may start out wanting to get that full suit of iron, progressing to an automatic chicken farm, working your way to an endgame chest room, and all those daily goals are viable and fun to work towards. But with the multiplayer, you can now be logging on to be one of 1,000 people trapped on a deserted island. Or perhaps you're starting to spend your first 100 days in Skyblock. What about a round of Spleef? Or perhaps you just want to be part of the community that's building the world to scale. It's just endless, this game's possibilities and potentials. I genuinely think that this game is one of the most replayable games ever made. No matter what you start your next world for, it's always appealing and exciting. Because of this, its value is off the charts, and its replayability is as well. And because of this, it would be criminal not to award Minecraft with a 10 out of 10 for its replayability and value grade. Alright folks, that leaves Minecraft with quite the high standing overall score. Anyone surprised? With a 9 for gameplay, 7 for story settings and lore, 9 for performance, 8 for graphics and style, another 8 for its audio, and 2 solid back-to-back 10s for multiplayer and community, and as well as its replayability and value. But hold on folks, there are 2 more points that can be potentially awarded. Point number 71, I said would be awarded to games that I think are worth completing. And well, this is an interesting point to decide for Minecraft. I mean, I've spent the entire video talking about how endless this game's possibilities are. How in the world would anybody complete this game? And well, that's the thing about this game. I think completion can look like many different things based off what you started that world or joined that server to do. And honestly guys, I think every goal in this game is worth its value. I really do think it's worth booting up this game and going on that first adventure to defeat the Ender Dragon. Yes, you should complete that goal. But I also think it's worth it for the veterans to aim for making that endgame base with every item in the game automatically sorted. And genuinely, that adventure and the time you put into completing that goal, I think it's worth it. You should complete that goal. Further than that, I think that the community servers that have absurd goals, like making the whole world to scale, well, with the amount of people and organization needed for that task, I still think that those involved would agree that reaching that goal is going to be worth its value in the end. The time you spend in this game is worth every single minute, in my opinion. And while this game has no true goal set out for you beyond conquering the dragon, every goal that people set for themselves in this game is worth completing in my eyes. And to be able to say that about a game is truly remarkable. Yes, Minecraft easily gets the 71st star. 100% you guys should complete Minecraft. Whichever way you see that end goal being, completing it will be worth it. I promise. And now everybody, it's time for the 72nd point. The final point upon which I award only to my favorite games of all time. And come on. I think y'all can tell by my praise and attitude towards this game that it's definitely getting the 72nd golden star of a point. I just love this game. And even though I put it down from time to time, every new world I make or challenge I set out for myself in this blocky world is time well spent. This game is an escape to a land full of endless imagination and valuable goals. It's an MMO in a way that lets me play with millions of other people, or it can simply be a game that me and my closest friends are able to create a world all to ourselves. The RPG elements bring me in, and the creative outlet of building up my world keeps me around. The impressive content that YouTubers and streamers provide for this game keeps me entertained, and the feats of engineering, social experiments, and mega builds keep me in awe of what is possible. I love this game, and I'm sure a lot of you do too. If you're one of the few people watching this and you haven't played Minecraft yet, give it a try. And remember that any goal you have for yourself in this game, it'll be worth it. This means, ladies and gentlemen, that Minecraft's final score here is a very admirable 63 out of 72. It will sit up here at the top, above Path of Titans and the Isle for now, but I'd love to know which games you all think can bridge the gap of 73 to 72 and get closer to that perfect 72 out of 72 score. If you were to ask me why I think Minecraft is so successful, I'm going to answer you like this. A game that can capture the imagination of a child, the determination of an adult gamer, and the wonder of an elder, and is able to continually excite and challenge all three of these people, well, that would be a game like any other. And I think Minecraft is that game. Adventurers, builders, crafters, designers, engineers, social leaders, anarchists, min-maxers, elders, adults, children. This game's for all of them, and all of them can find a goal in this game for them to achieve. A goal that I would bet is very worth playing. All right, everybody, so that completes our 72 review on Minecraft. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys liked the ranking and how we broke it all up. Let me know what you guys would give Minecraft with this score. Does it get more than a 73? Is it a 72 out of 72 for you? Let me know, guys. But that's going to be the end of this video. If you guys want more from me, I would love it if you guys subscribe to become part of the Sauropod squad. And we've got a Discord as well. And if you'd like a little bit more from me, you can become a member to become a squad captain down below to become a member. But yeah, that's it, everybody. I think I'm going to go hop on my cherrywood world and maybe make another automatic farm. We'll see what goal I wish to achieve today. But that's it from me. Take care, everybody. I have been Jay. Hope you guys have a great day. Peace.